Alright, y'all, hello and welcome to a little tour and information, maybe even history about some of the different housing and apartments and stuff that you would find throughout Europe that differs greatly compared to what I'm used to here in the U.S. This time we're going to be in Amsterdam, and these are canal houses. So these are something I don't know anything about other than I can assume they're houses on the canals, which I've seen videos and pictures of. Looks like a scenic, really cool area to be, and I'm excited to get into this. This was suggested by Paul Alcho, so I do appreciate it. We're going to be looking at clips from a couple different videos, one of them from Documont, another one from David Wen. The second one is an American who's living in one, and he'll give a tour. The first video will be just some clips about the history and info about these. I think it should be really interesting. This will be linked down below. Use those, watch the whole video on browser channels. Let's go ahead and get into this, because I'll be honest, I don't know anything about these, but I'm very intrigued to learn.
The city of Amsterdam was founded on the Amstel River, with numerous concentric canals constructed throughout the city, most notably in the 17th century during a golden age of the region. Today, there are more than 100 kilometres of canals within Amsterdam,
Wow.
with much of those within the interior.
Obviously, look at that aesthetic. It's really cool. Look at that water. That canal with the boats, the cars and the houses right there. I mean, it looks pretty cool.
Originally
right?
developed primarily for residential purposes.
That could be very common here.
A canal house is typically one that overlooks a canal, which is defined by the narrow plots that the planning had allowed, with a tax originally levied as a proponent to the width of a building's facade.
Really?
Standard plots in the 17th century were at 18 feet wide, with later planning allowing for wider plots at various widths.
Did he say 17th century?
Standard plots in the 17th century were at 18 feet wide, with later planning allowing for wider plots at various widths.
Wow.
Measurements were taken in the local Amsterdam foot, which equates to just over 28 centimetres, and slightly less than the standard foot we use today. Historically, these structures were built on wooden poles, with some even built over the top of the canal itself, and many were originally designed as a place of both residence
and business. Yeah. So that's cool, right? I'm assuming you guys probably have a lot of like businesses on the ground floor and then residents up top. I mean, even we have that in some of our cities, especially in older parts. Like you can see here, this might be a business, I'm assuming. We have an Italian restaurant, even a Dunkin' Donuts. That's pretty funny for me to see. I did not expect to see a Dunkin' Donuts on a canal, but...
and with a sizable area for storage. In understanding, Amsterdam was developed as a port city. Up to 50% of the original internal area of these buildings, notably in a basement or loft space, was given to the storage of items including spices, cotton and food.
Wow.
One of the defining characteristics of canal houses is its beam or pulley hoist, which was instituted at the top of the building to allow the lifting of these goods, and which today allows for the lifting of bulky items like furniture. As a component of this lifting arrangement, canal house...
I mean, yeah, I didn't even think of that yet. Getting furniture way up here... In theory, without knowing what they're going to say here, that sounds like a headache.
Houses were often developed with centrally located windows on the levels above, and with many facades built to lean forward as an intention to assist lifting, but also increase the internal usable area.
Wow.
Internals were typically designed around a long corridor and narrow staircase to allow at least one suitable room per floor. In the early 18th century, the front door of canal houses were often raised to mitigate the concerns of flooding within Amsterdam, providing the primary entry at the first floor.
That's smart, yeah.
However, by the 19th century, it was common to provide an additional door at the ground level also, to provide independent upstairs and downstairs residences, with one of these originally intended as a rental property.
Oh, that's cool.
And by the late 17th century saw some canal houses constructed with a rear extension connected by passage around a courtyard. Aside from the fundamental of design, the configuration of these buildings is sometimes provided in multiples, with 2 or 3 of the same type developed concurrently. Known as...
Now, what's funny, a little detail, you know me, I always notice random stuff. This parking, the angled parking we saw in some shots doesn't look too bad. That looks pretty straightforward. This parallel parking right up against the water there. Boy, I mean, that looks like a skill. I'm sure people in Amsterdam are used to it and do it, every day and have no issues. But yeah, I could see, riding a bicycle would be a little easier. You lean it on the building there. which of course that also could never be done here in the US. That would be stolen in like 30 minutes. So that is just a lifestyle I don't know. That's pretty cool. But yeah, that's like an interesting way to park, man. Like, don't mess up.
With 2 or 3 of the same type developed concurrently.
Got landscaping and trees and water, you know, very tight
known as twin
area.
Or triplet houses, and with even larger collections developed. These buildings were normally built as an alternating mirrored type, and were typically smaller than a standard canal house, with 3 buildings often built over a standard 2-building plot. Other districts developed double wide houses, and some were developed into what is known as a city palace, where a carriage house or warehouse was constructed at the rear. Canal houses can be defined by many different architectural styles, lending to the changes in design over centuries of development. The developments of the early 17th century were often characterised by the red brick construction of the Amsterdam Renaissance, with facades adorned in ornamentation and broken by horizontal lines. Examples of the style can be found today in the works of Dutch architect De Keyser.
See, that's what's interesting is when I see a lot of these videos of all these different districts of different cities throughout Europe, I'm just seeing, you know, variety, of course, different styles, different colors, and really thinking nothing of it other than the obvious, like, oh, that's different colors, right, or whatever. It's cool, right? Cool contrast. In reality, there's a lot more to it. Like, you can, if you know what you're looking at and maybe, you know, grew up around there, you are actually looking at different eras, right? Different architects, just by the style, just by the color. So there's a little deeper meaning there. It's actually kind of cool. You can identify pretty much what
the nearby Bartolotti
the
house.
loose history of something is. It's kind of cool.
Styles would soon shift to the Dutch Baroque, of a more restrained design type. And by the mid-17th century, architects were now starting to experiment with new facade arrangements.
Wow.
One of the most striking details of a canal house are the different decorative gables that were used to finish the top of each building. Some of the earliest canal houses in Amsterdam would have a simple pointed gable, with few of these structures remaining today.
Oh, wow.
The early Renaissance houses would use a stepped gable, with a parapet extending above as a series of steps.
I get
a design today commonly seen across the greater region of the Netherlands and its surrounds. With later developments saw the introduction of the neck gable, where a rectangular form extends at the central portion of the facade. The similarly formed bell gable was also sometimes used.
Those are cool.
The brickwork here instead forming a bell shape.
I think the bell gables are the coolest, in my opinion. Like, they just, I don't know, they look a little nicer, I think.
With both the neck and bell gable types often finished with decorative sandstone detailing.
All right, and then these are highlights. This is a little bit from an apartment tour of a 400-year-old Dutch canal house in Amsterdam, costing 1,950 euros per month, so just under 2,000 euros. Seems, I don't know how prices are. I guess that seems reasonable if it's pretty big, because prices, man, they've really spiked up in recent years here for even an apartment or renting a house or whatever. So
it's quite charming. I've been living here for about 2 years now. Very central, 5 minutes to Central Station. We're in the Canal Ring. As you look outside, you can see that the tourists are back, and it's very lively and charming as well. If you look around,
at that. Whoa.
You can see some portraits. These are very old portraits from long ago. And usually the landlord spends most of his time here. He's also a violin teacher, and it's quite charming sometimes when you hear the sounds of violin.
That is cool. That is so different, obviously. That's going to be ultra hard to find here in the U.S. Living somewhere, maybe going to an old building, right? That's like an attraction or a museum or something. Not like living in something that looks like that. That is just not common for the average American.
So let's come on into the hallway.
That is wild. I mean, a 400-year-old house really is not happening at all here, to be fair, if we're being specific.
So one of the things about this place, and you can see how old the house is by looking at the stairs. You can see that
what the heck?
Many humans have stepped on these stairs.
Are they warped?
It's not even flat anymore.
Oh my God, there's so many. How old are these stairs, dude? Are they 400 years old too? They have literal warps in them from footsteps in the, like, similar spots.
Dips downwards like this. And it goes to show you how old this place is. It's from the 17th century, and these stairs are really, really, really old.
That's insane, dude. Ooh. I'm used to big staircase. I feel like that staircase would sketch me out a little bit.
This is the kitchen. This is where a lot of cooking happens, a lot of cleaning, and this is our fridge and freezer here. It's not a lot of storage space, but also it's enough for 2 people. And right behind you is one bedroom where my flatmate lives. 2 people live here. And this is...
It's got, like, honestly, a decent amount of room, counter space. Interesting, like, I like these. These are kind of cool, right? These beams or rafter type things here. We got lights, interesting light fixture. I mean, yeah, it's
is where we have a lot of cutlery. There used to be a chef, a Japanese chef that used to live here. So when he left, he left behind all the cutlery, a lot of the plates. So we have a lot of things here. Everything's furnished. This is our stove and oven, very useful for baking. My flatmate's partner is a great chef and also a great baker as well, and they do a lot of baking of bread, etc. And a lot of the pots and pans here, this is the microwave. This is my favorite tool. I don't do as much cooking as I would like. I do a lot of...
Damn, he just exposed himself as an American. He loves a microwave. Obviously, there's a lot of awesome cooks and chefs here in America. It just depends on the people. Some people are into microwave meals. Some people are into fast food. Luckily, I have a beautiful wife that is very much into home cooking, as well as, you know, that's what I prefer for food. So we do more of that, which I'm proud to say. But yeah, the microwave as your primary focus for food isn't the best look, but...
Microwavable
at least he's got
dinners.
one.
So this has been a favorite friend and tool for me. And as you can see, this is very unique, very old. A lot of the tiles, blue.
Very interesting space. It's just so different than what I'm used to. Looks pretty low. I don't know how tall this guy is, but I feel like I'd be, you know, ducking a little bit. So that's a little bit concerning.
This is our living room, and this is our dining room table. This is where a lot of eating happens. I have breakfast here. My flatmate does as well, and dinner happens here as well. It's great for if you have a few people over as well to have a communal dinner, a communal meal. Very nice. And if you move on to over here, this is my work from home station. This is my desk for the past year, 2 years. It's
pretty small,
enough, and
I mean, it looks adequate. It's pretty small, but honestly, it's there. And yeah, he's got headphones. Like, honestly, you'd be good to go.
I spend a lot of time here on meetings and conference calls and doing my work. The view from here is actually quite nice. It's a view of the single canal.
Now that's cool.
See a lot of times boats pass by, cyclists, and so it's a very charming work from home station. This is our fireplace.
Look at the fireplace.
Here. We're not allowed to have any fires, but it just looks really nice.
Yeah, I hope not. I mean, the whole book collection's there.
And my collection of books, I do.
But it's
an
interesting use of it.
Especially helpful during the past year in COVID when there's...
That's definitely a good spot, good book reading spot, right? Got the view. You're inside away from the rain.
There's really nothing to do. So I did a lot of reading. And I also enjoyed cards, but not your typical cards. But cards to really get to know yourself deeper and your flatmates. And so this has really kept me busy over the past year. We also have some games and a chessboard right over here.
I respect that.
We've played one game of chess in the past year. It's more for show.
I think games are fun and important. If you like games, embrace it, play games. Of course, video games, very popular, right? But it's always good to, for your brain especially, play some board games with family and friends. It's a good bonding experience, too. Whoa, look at those stairs. Holy smokes.
So this is the second floor. This is my floor. This is where I live. My bedroom's over there.
Whoa.
This is the bathroom, toilet. And this is where we do our laundry, washer and dryer.
Okay.
And we spend quite a bit of time up here because, well, there's nothing else to do during COVID except to eat, drink, read, and wash our clothes. And we hang our clothes here to dry sometimes. And yeah, let me show you the bathroom toilet.
Yeah, I'm interested to see this. Okay, I love the skylight window. It's cool.
So welcome to the toilet, the bathroom. Again, it looks quite old, but has its own charm as well. Everything's been renovated.
Whoa, weird plugs. Okay, I
Yes.
expected that.
And yeah, I brush my teeth here. We use the toilet here, and this is our shower bathtub as well. And what's really nice sometimes is sometimes we will have, well, I will have just a bath here, and I'll light a candle here and just watch the view from outside on the single canal.
Right. It's small. Obviously, I think I'm just used to, everything so big. Even smaller houses for U.S. standards just seem to have bigger rooms and stuff, which is to be expected. I mean, this is way up there at the top of a Dutch canal house. I know houses can vary, apartments can vary, whatever, throughout Europe, throughout the Netherlands, throughout the U.S., wherever, right? So take all this as just one example, of course. But yeah, I like the look of it. I like the skylights, for example, up here. The windows letting in a lot of the natural light. You can probably see a cool night sky through there as well. And like the use of space seems really good to me as well. It's just tight. And I kind of expected that, but yeah, very tight on space. That would be a big adjustment for me. And of course, the obvious, it's very vertical. But, it's, again, a very rare scenario here in the U.S. I kind of live in somewhat of a vertical house as well because it is older. So I guess I could kind of relate to that. Typically, you're going to see a lot of houses that are ranches, they call them here, right? So they're going to be low and they're going to be really wide. It's not like he's trying to live like a diehard American in this house. I think he's adjusting and embracing it pretty well as far as I can see. Maybe you might have a different opinion, but this will be an interesting video for comments. As I wanted to take a look at more living spaces in different regions and different types. Like I said, this is a very specific type. This is a 400-year-old Dutch canal house. So, I mean, of course, that's very specific and doesn't go for all, living establishments throughout Europe. But it's a cool peek into something specific that you really couldn't replicate here. I'm going to cut it there. There's quite a bit of both videos that we didn't view here. So those will be linked down in the description. You can check them out in their entirety. Browse their channels. That was interesting, man. Hella interesting. I think the use of space is good. I think the architecture and just kind of the vibe in there is really cool. I also think that stairs are kind of sketchy, but that's okay. I mean, I respect that they're so old and still functional. I think that's really cool. But yeah, like stairs are tight. The upper floors are really tight. I would have a little bit of concerns and it would take quite a bit getting used to. But at the end of the day, man, it's really cool. Good views and also location. He's in a great location, I think, right? He's near a lot of stuff that he can walk or bike to. And, that's, again, almost impossible to find here in the U.S. Usually you live far away from everything, right? I think you guys have probably heard of that setup here being pretty common. So that's going to do it for this one. I appreciate you guys watching. And I hope to see you in the next one. My name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker. Until next time, y'all. Catch you later.